200,000 tourists arrived in the Philippines for the month of February. The country reopened its borders to 157 countries last February 10, and since then there have been more than 100% increase in international arrivals in the country compared to last year. According to the Bureau of Immigration, the Philippines is on the road to recovery as 40% increase in foreigners, balikbayans, arriving in the country. The foresight on international travel is getting better. They have enough officers deployed in all ports of the country, and they have improved e-gate services to guarantee that there is efficiency in the Bureau of Immigration stations. After almost 2 years, this is a breath of fresh air to see families and binational couples reunited. And I'm seeing everywhere pictures of couples showing that they are together. It is indeed a breath of fresh air. Very good news, and we're happy for you guys. While Terminal 4 of NAIA will be reopened to accommodate the increase of arrivals. According to Transportation Secretary Arthur Tugade, NAIA Terminal 4 for the last 2 years during the pandemic have been closed, but on March 28, they will be reopening. This is an additional facility that will receive and send passengers to their flights. Airports in Siargao and Surigao, which were both heavily affected by the typhoon, will also reopen by end of March. Including Bohol, guys. Bohol is also open for tourists. Now, it would be good if we visit those areas that were affected by the typhoon. It would help the local businesses there to recover. While you may be seeing other countries, there is a growing number of countries lifting the RT-PCR or the negative test result requirement for entry. We've heard of UK, Oman, UAE recently relaxed for certain groups of people only, while Finland removes all testing requirements for vaccinated tourists. Even Kuwait did the same thing. No more test requirement or home quarantine for fully vaccinated passengers entering their country. In the US, there is a pressure from travel industry trade groups. They're pushing for the federal officials to drop the COVID-19 test requirement for entry into the US. According to them, international travel is still down by 38% compared to 2019, and that testing requirement is responsible for a lot of that gap. Even with the pressure, CDC earlier in February said they are not quite ready to roll back international travel COVID testing rules. They are not ready to consider removing the negative test result requirement. If any of here is watching, guys, for all passengers going to the US, they need to show a negative test result. It can be RT-PCR or antigen test. Antigen test, highly recommended. You can get tested a day before your flight. Results can be released in an hour or 30 minutes. The price ranges from 500, 600 pesos, 700 pesos. How about the Philippines? Now, we are hearing from travelers that RT-PCR tests are expensive. If you want them within 48 hours, they can be expensive. Pearl said it is expensive here in England. RT-PCR test taken 48 hours is 120 pounds. Ang mahal. More than 8,000 pesos. CA said that I hope the IATF will consider antigen test instead of RT-PCR test, which is expensive here in the US. Yan guys, if you have existing insurance pala, check with your insurance whether they can cover testing for travel. How about the Philippines? Now, that is a big question as well. When would the Philippines lift that RT-PCR test result requirement? Well, in an interview with the Department of Secretary Puyat yesterday with CNN, this was asked. When would the Philippines lift this RT-PCR test result requirement? Secretary Puyat said, almost all the countries naman always require RT-PCR test before entry. In fact, our country in Asia is the easiest country to go to because there is no test upon arrival. You only need a negative RT-PCR 48 hours before departure. I'm sensing that the Department of Tourism is confident that this is not a hindrance for travelers to come to the Philippines, this RT-PCR test result requirement, and that we are one of the most relaxed daw among Asia. So from the sound of that answer, parang malabo pa. I think it's unlikely they will remove that requirement anytime soon. Unlikely. How about unvaccinated tourists? Department of Tourism also addressed this question. Why is the Philippines not allowing unvaccinated tourists to enter the Philippines? Just let them enter and do proper test or quarantine because many tourists want to visit the Philippines but not all of them want to get vaccinated. According to Secretary Puyat, that is what our doctors and the IATF requested, that we only accept fully vaccinated travelers. However, if they are 12 years old below, accompanied by fully vaccinated parents, they are allowed. See, it's actually, guys, it's not the Department of Tourism that decides. They are just doing recommendations. At the end of the day, it's the IATF experts. So yeah, I called Bureau of Quarantine in Cebu last March 1 asking about, are you accepting unvaccinated tourists? About that Governor Gwen's EO that they will accept unvaccinated tourists. And the person I spoke with at the Bureau of Quarantine, it sounds like she has no idea about the EO. She said they're still waiting for it. For now, they're only accepting fully vaccinated for nationals. As expected, the national policy prevailed. Now, when it comes to unvaccinated tourists, it's just that the IATF really decides who can enter, and the IATF early in February said that they will only bring back quarantine if a variant of concern emerges, like Delta. And they are still monitoring the situation. And even in the Philippines, they are still ramping up on the vaccination and encouraging more Filipinos to get vaccinated. The Philippine government puts a high regard on vaccination. Now for SRRVs. Okay, for other types of visas, guys, you are not under the visa-free entry category, no? Like, if you have an existing visa and you're entering the Philippines, you don't need insurance, you don't need the exit ticket, but you need to be fully vaxxed. For any SRRVs, retirees watching this video, there was an advisory by the Philippine Retirement Authority issued last February in regards to reopening. And it states here that not fully vaccinated individuals under this category, SRRVs, shall be denied entry. Mind you guys, they are investors, and even them, they are required to be fully vaccinated. So in summary, what I can say is the testing requirement is still, there is no sign that they would lift that anytime soon. Perhaps if US, Thailand lifts that requirement, I think that would make a big impact on the IATF's decision. How about unvaccinated? Still not allowed maybe in the future. For now, yeah, you still need to be fully vaxxed to enter. While the country is still very relaxed right now, major tourist destinations are open. We are seeing that less and less restrictions in alert level 1 areas. No vax can still fly, no? You are allowed to travel. There is no vax, no fly policy right now because we are under a very relaxed alert level 1 and 2. As I've said before, and as what many of the people who landed in the Philippines successfully said and testified, that as long as you have the complete requirements, your arrival will be smooth. Jerry said, arrived in Cebu yesterday, Thursday afternoon, passing through the airport was easy. They were very, very efficient. Only showed my passport, OHP, One Health Pass, and they asked if I had insurance and onward ticket, but they didn't need to show. Well done, Mactan Airport. O, diba? Lawson arrived in Manila on Wednesday with Singapore Airlines. It was a breeze going through immigration and Bureau of Quarantine. But only if you have all your paperwork done that they request. See, if you just follow, it will be easy. No. And these things are required for our own good. It's not there to make travel hassle. It's very simple entry now to the Philippines. And that is all for this video, guys. Oh, I want to add, there are people asking about LGU acceptance letter or connecting ticket from Cebu. you remember from last year when there was a issue between IATF and Cebu Governor Gwen where they had their own protocols there. That was required before it. Because, guys, LGU acceptance letter, Cebu connecting flight, for international travel, it's not required. You know, some airlines' websites are just not updated. The most updated I know of is Philippine Airlines website. But this is all for this video, guys. For all the updates today, let me know if you have anything to add. I'll see you with another travel update. Stay safe and God bless. Bye. Oh, I just noticed we reached 130,000 subscribers. I'm surprised. It seems like it was just a few weeks ago when we reached 100,000. Thank you for those who subscribed. And for those who haven't, please consider subscribing. I'll see you with another update. Bye.